In this video, I want to begin implementing the WordPress Ultra Simple PayPal shopping cart. We've been working with the settings here, and now it's time for us to actually use them. And we do have some fairly decent documentation right here on the plugins page, which is very handy. In other words, it's got most of the short codes you're going to want to use and examples that you can copy and paste, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But before we do that, here's a recommendation. I'm just going to copy the URL for this current page. I'm going to open a new tab in my browser, paste it in, and now I've got the same page I was on. I'm just going to drag it over here so they're right beside one another. But now I can go to my posts, and I can work with my posts while I go back and forth to these codes. So let's say you're doing a fair bit of work entering a lot of different products. You could keep coming back to this very easily, and you don't have to keep switching pages. Okay, so I'm going to find our Fall Beauty. This is the one we're going to work on right here. Okay, and you see where it says Insert PayPal button here. That was text I left in for my own understanding when I come back to it. So I go to that, Fall Beauty, and we see where we've got, there's our, whoops-a-daisy, there's our Insert PayPal button here. Okay, we're going to replace that. And we replace it with this. Let's just start with a very basic Add to Cart button here. It's just going to have the product and the price in it. And there's where we're going to replace the uppercase items here. Be careful to leave in those colons, by the way. Those colons are crucial to the operation of the short code that we're putting in here. The short code, remember, is anything in brackets in WordPress. So the product name here is Fall Beauty. And again, we're going to change this to the actual price, $18, let's say. Remember, this is a different kind of short code than regular ones. Here's a regular short code up here where we use the Embedded Pro plugin that we had. And it normally has an equal sign and then quotation marks with your variable in the middle there. In this case, we're using colons, so you do have to be careful how you're using this one. Let's hit update. And now when we go back to here and we refresh, there we go. We now have our Add to Cart button. Now it's showing quantity here, and that's because under Settings, we've turned that feature on. By default, this actually isn't available. So you have to turn it on in the settings. Let me just quickly show you where that was. It says Display Quantity Field, and I've got that checked off. If I didn't, then we wouldn't have a choice. It would simply add one item, and we could change the quantity in our shopping cart. By allowing us to see it here, we can change the quantity right off the bat. So in fact, let's do that. Let's make it a quantity of 2, and I'm going to add it to my cart. There we go. Now, one of the problems here is I don't know for sure whether it's been added to my cart because I don't have the cart showing on the sidebar, or depends on your theme where you might have it, but in this case, I don't have it in my sidebar. We also don't have a cart page yet. We don't have a page where we could look at the cart since we don't have it on the sidebar. So let's start by making a page, okay? Let's create a page here. Add new, and we're just going to call it cart. And now we go back again. This is the beauty of having this available here. Go back to my usage, and I scroll down here and it says to add the shopping cart to a post or a page. I just simply go like this. Now they talk about calling it the checkout page. And you could call it that, although technically you're not checking out there. You're simply viewing what's in your cart. Okay, so let's hit publish. Now, we have to make sure we add this to our menu. Okay, so by default, I don't have all my new pages showing on the menu. I like to have it that way because it keeps control for me. You could say display any new top-level pages automatically in your menu, but I find it handier to do this. So let's go here, and maybe we'll put cart right here. Save menu. Now when we refresh this page, we don't want to resend. So let's not do that. Let's go back to here. That would have resent our cart information again, and it would have added 2 more plates. Okay, so now we have our cart there, and we just click on that. And we can see, well, in fact, it did resend the information. And so now we have 8 in there, and we can change that quantity here. Let's put it back to 4. And notice what it does is it puts a little reload button on there. Now, sometimes in the widget, it actually shows you instructions. People may not know to hit that button there, the reload button. Hopefully they would, but no instruction shows on this page. It should show on the widget, but it doesn't always, so we'll see if that's going to actually work. There we go. Now we've got our new quantity. There's our PayPal button for checking out. What it did was it took away the checkout button because we'd changed the quantity, so it kind of prevents you from checking out until you update that quantity. But a little bit of instruction would be helpful. All right, let's go back now. I'm going to go back to our fall beauty. Okay, and let me show you something here. I'm just going to add 1 now to the cart. The problem is I don't know for sure whether it's added to the cart again because it's not visible. It didn't take me to the cart. I can change that. I go to my settings and I say to it, all the way down at the bottom here, automatic redirection to checkout page. Okay. I update my options. And now let's go back over to here. Let me add 5 more just so we know we've added a lot. Now what it's done, you know what happened? We haven't given it the proper URL. There was a mistake there, so let's now grab the URL for the cart. I did that by just going to the cart page, okay? And I have to go back into here into my settings, and I go and I add the proper URL, okay? It had a default URL that it added from my old settings. Okay, redo our updating here. So now it's going to take us to the proper page. Okay, so let's go back to our home here. See, these mistakes are easily corrected. You just have to know where to go back to look and remember what it is you did and didn't do. Let me add 10 now. Let's really make sure we know. Add to cart. And now what it's going to do, you can see it's taking me directly to the cart. Now I've got 20 added to the cart. But that's a helpful check to let us know that we actually did add to the cart. Now, I think it's better for small shopping carts like this to have it on the sidebar, and that's what I'm going to cover in another video as we continue with implementation.